There seems to be a never-ending stream of roguelike games coming to the PS4, and there's a new one here in Neverend. But should this game never leave your collection, or after a little bit of playing, you're going to be begging someone to end your pain. Neverend is a very simple roguelike game that has a very similar look to classic Legend of Zelda. The game has you playing as an adventurer who gets teleported to this weird dungeon. Your goal is to complete quests and eventually take out the boss in order to escape the dungeon itself. The dungeon is different every time you enter, though after only a few minutes of playing, you'll pretty much see every type of room. It's pretty much just gray square room after gray square room. There's a few different variations and a few event rooms thrown in, such as the quest rooms, as well as the occasional mini-boss and shop. You're initially armed with a wooden stick and a shield. Though you're able to block enemy attacks, it's pretty much ineffective. I always still ended up getting hurt, even when I was blocking head-on to enemies attacking me. The wooden stick, of course, is very weak, but you can earn money and buy new equipment. As well as defeating mini-bosses, you'll get a chest, which will still be an item you have to pay for, but it's at a discounted rate, which is a bit odd. The way that the money works in the game, though, is instead of just finding coins when defeating enemies, when you defeat an enemy, you fill up a gauge similar to an experience meter, and once it fills up all the way, you end up getting 1 coin that you'll be able to use in order to buy items in the shops. The shops have 2 main items that you'll be able to buy, as well as potions to replenish some of your hearts. The 2 main items can be either a passive item, such as a potion replenishment item, or a new weapon that you'll be able to use. There is an okay array of weapons, but they only do mildly better than one another unless you're able to get multiple of the elemental swords, and then you can go to the altar in order to combine these for a more effective weapon, which will probably take a good amount of time, and in fact you could get mostly through the game without ever being able to do this. The worst aspect about this game, though, is in the combat. It's slow, awkward, clunky. Attacking an enemy is a chore. With the zombies, you'll have to hit them and then run away and quickly turn around and be able to deliver another attack to them. There's only 3 types of enemies in the game as well. It doesn't take long to get down their patterns, thankfully, so you do get accustomed to the combat rather quickly, but it doesn't make it any more fun to actually play as the character. In order to complete the dungeon, you have to complete these quests and eventually face off with the final boss. The quests are pretty simple, but in order to get them, you'll have to find one of the quest givers, and of course, being a random dungeon, it could be a couple of rooms or it could be 20 or 30 rooms before you finally come across one. While of course this leads to plenty of replayability, it can also be a bit on the annoying side. From the technical side of things, the game didn't crash on me or have any major slowdown. There was a couple of minor glitches, the biggest one being that in some of the shops when they would generate, the 2 main items would be on top of one another, making it impossible just to buy one. Neverend is available on the PS4 for $1.99. It's also available on the PlayStation Vita and PC. Overall, you can't expect a whole lot for the low price, but there still should have been a bit more variety to the enemies, or at least maybe a few more songs to the soundtrack. If there's one song that plays in the dungeon, and it gets on your nerves after probably only 5 or 10 minutes of playing the game. With everything said though, I'm going to be giving Neverend a 4 out of 10. But anyway guys, it's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course I hope you enjoyed.